It was good. I got 2 wrong.
No, the thing that you like out well.
Okay. That's all you did. We went to Blackboard
Oh, you
and
had
read 3 articles.
Yeah.
And we broke up into groups, and 3 groups, and each group talked about the article. That's it. No homework because he didn't go over the next chapter. So that chapter 5, it's not even due Monday yet because he didn't lecture on this. Yeah. It was the best day to miss accounting. Good time.
I was gonna text you, but I was like,
But everything was good, like, yeah.
So,
Okay.
I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. Good call though.
I think she said she doesn't, I think when she goes through the classes, I know that's for completion, so it's gonna be. I think the major is just, obviously, I have to see it all the time. Perfect some project, so like, my friend was in this class before, and he was doing a project with her group, and I think he was on it, and a lot of times people like, will make apps and stuff for it, so. But not like a mock app, like not like you actually have to like put it on the app store or something, say the function of it and what it's doing. So, something like that, so. Almost halfway through the semester, yeah, so I'm a little confused, but. Yeah, it's like next week.
are you kidding?
Yeah, 7 weeks. Sorry, I count a lot. That's out of next week, so. That's technically 15
Are you
weeks.
guys all seniors?
Yeah, I'm graduating in December. Oh, yes, you're graduating next fall.
Yeah. Not ready.
Yeah, it's like crazy. I'm going home after December, but I'm coming back a few times. You know, in December. Yeah.
You just got in the accepted
Yeah. Thanks.
Going there?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. No, you're okay. It's wild. Yeah, I had my interview last Monday, yeah, well, that was on Thursday, yeah. The turnaround is quick for, if you say, like, do your paper application, and that takes about a month, and then there are probably like 48 people on the interview, and then they like call you with them.
You don't do the MCAT, do you?
No, it's just a degree, it's like, a degree that I sent to you, I sent for like 3 months ago. And I yeah, I was just saying, no, I'm done. Yeah, I did not let that guy do myself. I'm like, no, yeah. I mean, I want my junior year and I did. Yeah, I was like, yeah. I know, exactly. Yeah, probability of going. It's probability. I'm like, I didn't know any of those questions. And then it's like, big ones.
Let's get our name tags out. We can begin.
Lost it. Oh well.
Let's go. So let's get name tags out. If you don't have them, we have extra sheets here. people were asking me, I've gotten emails, people have the flu, they're sick, can't come to class, or they're gonna be out of town, and they were wondering where the links were. I'm posting this, or I'm trying to post these at steemit.com at the Psycho. And that is, Steemit is a blockchain blogging site, and we'll talk about that today. And if you look at the top, I'll try to date it with today's date and the time. So if you look at the date of our class and the time, and if you click into it, you should see a link. I don't know, we'll see if this works here. And it's viewers only, and then I have another link for speakers. So if you want to be a speaker in the class and you're remote, you can click on this link and join the class. Or if you just want to view it, let's see if this works. On this link and join the class. Or if you just want to view it, let's see if this works. It's a little bit delayed. On this link and join the class.
Yeah, eventually it's going to become very awkward.
Right. And then also, if I wanted to join the class, I would, if you wanted to be a speaker, and then, it's basically when we're talking about the conferencing, I'm using Hangouts on Air. You can click on the link, and then you could be, your picture could appear, and you could also participate. So just check out. Notice today the Steem blockchain was upgraded earlier. You may be experiencing problems, but for right now, this worked. Okay? So people were asking me about that, and we're doing it. Danielle, you want to take a marker and add it to yours? Does everybody have their name tags? Who doesn't have name tags? Let's put them up here. Let's go. It's like we haven't seen each other in months. Doesn't it feel like it? It really, I missed you guys, so. Let's go. And take a marker and pass it around so I can read it. Okay? So that did work on this one. So let's go back. This is 450. And under quizzes, you should have chapter 4, and I'll make chapter 9 available to you, which is privacy and security. So I'm going to edit the test options. And let me make the link available.
Space them out. I know. I know. Yeah, I got an A in the class. That's what we're talking. Yeah.
I'm freaking out. But I did it again.
I think there was.
Yeah, double check.
If I'm,
So let me put down what we'll cover today. So everybody,
Because I did it twice. The first time I got I really should know this word out. I got 2 jobs. Is there
I guess I took pictures of the ones I got right, but that was when I got 9 out of 10. So one of them's wrong.
I'll tell you. Yes, I know reason why I said
It's like I didn't read the chapter.
Who has a sheet of paper? Anyone have a sheet of paper?
I
Good, thank you.
Is Liz okay?
Yeah, perfect, perfect. So let's make, then, Emily, let's make a, roll. And in your roll, let's put in BTE 450. Put the date of September 26th at 6:30. And then put, for the fields, put first, last, phone, and then put upload forecast. You know, your forecast that we were doing. Put yourself, and then answer yes, no, or I guess we can do halfway, half. Some of you didn't do, and then put yourself as number 1 and pass along the sheet, and the last person here, just hand it to me, okay? So, you got that?
Yep.
I can erase it?
Yes.
First, last, phone, and upload forecast.
Okay. Got it.
Got it, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? So today I want to cover overview of data. And along with data is that we need to talk about privacy, security, and breaches. And then we'll talk about an advantage on, we'll also talk about blockchain in healthcare. See, John, it just kind of goes, really flows. Instead of just regular, we'll go for regular healthcare. You'll be great on an interview. You can spit out all those acronyms to everyone, and it'll be familiar. And what do you want to do, John? What are you? You have any idea?
Medical field.
Okay. Okay. So you can see. So this whole idea in healthcare, data in healthcare is going to be essential for and then we'll be talking about forecasting. So it's going to be data in all senses. Data is king. Data is king, and data is also our issues and our challenges. Okay, so quiz 4 for chapter 4 is up. Quiz 9, is that up for you? Yes, it's working. So quiz 9, yes.
I don't know why, even though I resubmitted it twice, it again marks me like an error. Like
For which one? Chapter 4?
4.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
four.
did the same on chapter 3.
Well, 3, let's not worry about. 3 I'm going to do for next week, maybe even for tomorrow. I'll set it up. I'll send you out an email. You can check it in an assignment. I'm going to resubmit different questions for 3 because 3 wasn't good. I'll resubmit. But what's happening with 4? Let me go through 4 with you. What's the problem?
Every time that I submit, it only takes 9 out of 10.
Let me just see. Anyone else have that problem?
Yeah.
And what is, so the beauty in the computer, is we always have issues. So basically what we have to do is try to figure out what are those issues. So let's work out together because I don't control the submission. This is done by Blackboard, which is where? Where's that located? What is Blackboard anyways? If you had to say what kind of application it is, it's what, everybody's used it before, right? James, you've used Blackboard before, right? I mean, it's a standard here at this institution and many institutions. So what would you call Blackboard? I'm always trying to make it a teaching moment, right? So extra credit for giving me feedback. You think even if there are errors, you get extra credit here for giving me errors. And the whole idea, what I'm teaching you is not even specific ideas in technology, but basically how do you document and how do you try to solve problems or try to figure out what the problems are. So basically what Blackboard is, it's what we call a LMS. And what does LMS stand for?
Learning management system.
Beautiful, Danny. Learning management system. And what does that mean? It's going to be a system to be able to record all for instructor, student kind of things, or ways for postings, right? A way to keep track. And one of the things they have is they have online quizzes. So we need to go to chapter 4, right? So I'm going to go to chapter 4. And do you know which question it gave you a problem with?
No.
I think one of them is like the answer is not right. Like Blackboard thinks the answer is one thing, but it's not.
Okay, so maybe you made a mistake too, right? It's only, computers are what? In this case, computers are, you hear about AI, computers are just recording information and they can record it each time and there can be errors, and that's the beauty here. Nobody else is so excited as me as when there's errors. So we can learn. It's a teaching moment, right? Edit the test. So let's, first of all, let's edit the test. Let's see what the test looks like. Okay, so it says here, the total questions is 10, the points here, right? Number of attempts, right? So in this case, which was the issue?
It didn't get the feedback.
It didn't give the feedback, so you didn't, okay, so we can change for the feedback. What else was the problem?
I think, well, yeah,
It was not always on me.
it may not have been, there's another all the above question if it keeps going, it may have been that. Yeah, I think it was this one.
Okay, which of the following is not, was this the one that was wrong?
Oh, no, was it the teacher?
Which of the, and it didn't give you what the correct answers were?
No.
No, we didn't see what we got right.
Okay, so let's change it, and let's give it like 3 attempts. Okay?
We tried to switch the one. Oh, wait, we ended up getting it too.
Okay, which one, you have to give me which, does anybody figure out which one that was giving you wrong?
We can go through them.
What?
It was that one.
Which one? What is that one? I'm seeing 10 of them. What is that one?
Number 8.
Number 8, multiple choice. All the above are goals. So this is not right.
No, that is right.
So what's the issue?
It's a correct.
So which one? So it's hard for me to figure out what's wrong if you don't give me feedback.
I don't think we know because it didn't show.
Okay,
us
let's do,
which
oh, it
one.
didn't show you what you were doing? Oh, it
No.
just said, okay, so let's do this. Let's do test options. That's the beauty that we're together here. Okay, so let's go to chapter 4. Let's go to edit test options. And, okay, so it didn't give you the correct, okay. So let's do correct and submit it and see what happens. Now if you go back, does it tell you? Or do you have to take it again? You know how to see what you've done wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need another try.
Do you?
Probably.
Here, I'll go back and see.
You can see it or not? Because I'm not and I'm the instructor, so I don't get to have the view you do.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No, you can see it now, I think.
You see?
Yeah,
Going,
it's-
where do you have to go?
It was you go into my grades, and then click on the actual title of the quiz 4, and then click on the score you got, and then it'll all show up as like the question. So it was question 6.
Okay, very good, Kelly. Okay, so question 6. Very good. So many extra credits, I'm gonna run out of extra credits. Okay, 4, okay, so what is it here? I'm gonna have to borrow them. Okay, you can sell them too, Kelly, you never know, extra credit, right? You can barter. I got too many extra credits. Okay, edit, so I need to go edit test, and which number are we talking about, 6?
6.
Okay, so you can go back. Okay, so 5, 6. It's great that we're working together. So what is this? So it's wrong, the answer?
The answer is B.
The answer is B. Let me read the question. Okay, population health management requires a shift in industry perspectives and healthcare practices. Which of the following is not a characteristic of population health management? Collaborative teams of providers, keeping groups of people healthy, of course, right? Customizing healthcare for each patient. And so what are you saying?
You said B is not.
Okay, offering care at centralized facilities. Okay, so if I edit, can I edit here? So, what's this one say here? Edit. What's gonna happen here? If I edit, I'm not sure, I can, the question of 33 when we attempt here.
I think she's gonna go to the
I don't know if I can edit here. Which number is it, 6?
B.
Yeah, but it's 6, am I in 6?
Yeah, you are. Just go up.
I'll
It'll
go up
say
on
answer choice
B.
B.
B. Here I go to B.
And now
And
that
then
one's marked
let me
correct.
just see, submit, here, just submit. This will require regrading for 43 attempts for this question. I'm not gonna do that. But that's why we have the computer. See, John, this is why we want the automated system, hopefully. Let's see. Does that mean you can edit, delete, or print point values of the question on this page? Did it change it?
Yeah, I changed it.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm more excited than you are, okay? All right. That's a group effort if I've ever seen it, okay? We all kind of contributed. So that's the whole idea of my philosophy here, is that we got to work in groups. You know, there's a master's degree. Anybody hear about this master's degree? It's called translational research. It's in the medical school, and I'm part of that group. And what they are trying to do is people that are especially in healthcare, they have physicians that get a master's degree, or if you're just even undergraduate and you want to get a master's degree in translational research, basically bringing the medical field that you can into product or being in education to people. And one of the things that they were trying to do, and they reached out to me, is to teach them how to work in teams. So you guys are, I should have you teach it. Okay, so they want to have a course on how do we do team science, right? And that's basically what we're trying to do. Okay, anything else? So I'm going to resubmit. I'm going to put, tomorrow I'll put up new questions. I'll call it like quiz 3A for chapter 3, because that wasn't done well. So I'll put that up so you'll have quiz 3. Okay? I'm also giving you chapter 9, which is privacy and security. And later on, the chief security officer of the university, plus some people at the medical school will be coming to give a talk on how they're dealing with security here on our campus as well. So I wanted us to have that as an overview. Okay? I'm going to have an exam on October 10th. Since I want to have us being prepared, so put that in your notes here, October 10th. It will cover the chapters that we've covered in class, plus it will cover our discussions. And next week, I'll do a review, an extensive review. It'll be part multiple choice from the readings, plus open-ended questions, and I'll go over next week the open-ended questions. the type that will be, so there won't be any surprises. So you can prepare well, rather than, I hate it, you know what I mean, that you study completely the wrong way. You know what I mean? It creates too much anxiety and there's no need for it. Yes,
Is the exam gonna be in the classroom or
here.
in the
It'll be here.
handwriting or in computers?
It'll be, since we have issues with the computers being up or down, I'm always scared we're not gonna get internet and so forth. We'll do it on paper, okay? And then we'll do a backup later on. We'll have a backup on the computer. But I've tried it on the computer before, but it's like somebody had their hard drive down, somebody got their whatever, you know, and then we didn't have internet that day, so we'll do it. But bring, we'll talk about it later on.
What are the chapters?
Okay, the chapters will be that, 1 through 4 and chapter 9.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll do a review, okay? What else? Anything else? Yes,
Wait, so it'll
Nico.
be on the 10th?
10th of October. So not next week, but the week after. So that way we can use next week for review plus other things. Okay, yes.
Did you say what
Mon-
format it was? Multiple choice?
It'll be multiple choice and it'll be open-ended questions, and I'll go over it next week, the open-ended. So it'll be similar to the quizzes, that part, you know, and then there'll be, open-ended and we'll talk about it. Okay, what else? Anything else? And then I wanna go over also your homeworks as well. What were the issues? Cause we haven't been, it's been way too long, and since we only meet once a week, it's hard to do it. Also, on Mondays, I'll stay after today in class and work with anybody in terms of your homeworks, or I'll end a little bit early and we'll do that. And then on Mondays, after my prior class from around 6:30, I'm available as well. And if you need to see me other times or talk to me, you're welcome to talk to me after class or send me an email. Any other questions before we begin? So, let's do a couple of things here. So we got the assignments. I appreciate your feedback. We got that correct. And now I need to do course documents. And in course documents, I need to do, let me go to PowerPoint here. And I'll do chapter 4. Where I'll have it open. And then I'm also I can eliminate my steam in here. I don't need my steam in. I can say cancel here. And then I'm gonna do chapter 9. Okay, so I have chapter 9, I have 2 9s, I don't need 2 9s. Okay, and let me get one more, vital source, let me do that. Let me go to my bookshelf. Let me sign in. So the exam will cover part 1, which is National Health Information Technology, healthcare data, the healthcare information systems, and information systems to support population health along with privacy. also, you should have on your web links to be familiar with. You have a number of links here that I'll go over with you later. So let me just start with just reviewing with us Chapter 4, which was supporting the population health management. And we had talked earlier about the ACO, but what I want to, and we talked about fee for service and value based, and what's the difference, Deb?
Between value-based and fee-for-service.
Mm-hmm.
Value-based is based off of a contracted amount, and fee-for-service is by incentive.
And what does that mean in plain English?
I don't know, do it in the most complex way. Fee-for-service means that doctors code, and they get reimbursement by coding, and value-based means that their purpose is to not expend, keep their patients healthy, because then the expenses will outweigh revenues.
So it's basically the idea, every service I give, I charge a fee, and here, basically, if a patient has congestive heart failure, for instance, and I have value-based, it may be, for instance, Medicare may give you, let's say for congestive heart failure for a patient, let's say $100,000 to treat that patient.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can treat that patient successfully for $50,000, you get to keep the extra $50K. So it's not incentivized by taking a patient and just giving them more services because I'm going to make more money. I see you as a patient, Danielle, and what am I going to do every time I see you? Hey, let's do some more blood work. Why? Is there any evidence based that you're going to be any, am I going to help you to be any healthier? No, but what, I'm going to get more fees for it, right? If I start giving you certain operations, right? If I could treat you by just putting some cold compresses on versus doing some more surgeries, right? So in this case, what the payment model is that maybe what we should do to make us more healthy, we should do value-based rather than fee-for-based. And the idea here is to try to engage patients in the care process. So one of the things that I wanted you to do when we're thinking even about our projects later on is thinking about where healthcare is going is maybe what we need is more wearables, maybe what we need to do is more mobile activities. Anybody see the new Apple Watch?
Oh yeah.
What's new about that?
It has an actual like electromagnetic heart monitor.
Right, so they're trying in more of my wearables, trying to get that, getting out in the field, getting to be smaller, getting to be the patient basically doing it, doesn't have to go all the time, getting continuous data, and in that continuous data we can relate to. Aligning then quality measures being used in public and private programs. So we're able to do that, and along with it is if I get everything digitally, then I can have what we call stratification. What's stratification? Who can tell me?
The ability to identify a patient or cohort at risk for a negative health effect or preventable healthcare utilization.
Or having the ability. So what does that mean?
Basically, it means that you have, well, in this case, I guess it would be for tech or healthcare things, that can possibly diagnose the problem before it becomes an issue without them needing to go to a clinic or hospital and pay the fee for diagnostics from a human professional.
So what's the key here?
On-demand diagnostics?
but what else? Even on demand, but basically on demand, but what else? What does on demand mean? Ricky?
Immediately?
Yeah, but what else?
Immediate identification.
But how can I identify you? What am I gonna do? Just kind of, just go like this. I think a patient with diabetes coming in, or pre-diabetic, right? Coming in, what am I gonna do? Well, what is it?
You would set certain criteria that would alert in the system.
Basically
and flag the patient.
forecasting. Based on my data, given these characteristics, given this data set, this person is prone to fall in from pre-diabetic to diabetes. So I'm basically gathering that for forecasting, basically looking at best practices. And what I'm able to do then is in stratifying. You can see stratification is used all the time with marketing. Where? Amazon is a key for that. Google's a key for it. What are they using? James, how does Amazon do stratification?
Well,
What does Facebook use for stratification?
they look at age groups, even
How
like,
does Facebook, how's Facebook such a, how much does it cost you to have, you have a Facebook page?
Mhm.
How much does it cost you?
Oh, I don't have a page, I have an account only.
Account, and how much does it cost you?
Free.
Free. It's a publicly traded company, Facebook, everybody know that? FB is its symbol, right?
Mhm.
So how are they making all their millions?
Advertisements.
And how are they doing those advertising? Just sticking in an advertisement in Facebook? What's the key? They used to do that on a newspaper, like a regular physical newspaper. They used to stick in advertisement. Well, what's the key there?
They use algorithms and target people.
And they use what?
Stratification.
And then they basically are able to forecast, right? Not only, and then the advertiser able to say, I'm looking for people between 18 and 22 that are not even just college age, but go to certain colleges, right? And are a female that are also into taking exercise, right? And certain Pilates or whatever we're talking about, that I can pinpoint so much to be able to set those ads, right? So it's the same thing in that stratification, but it's the idea here with that big data. Remember we talked about big data, or did we? Right? In terms of big data happens is that I'm able to do some forecasting. And have then check what we call data mining. What's data mining? Anybody know? What's data mining? Let's look it up. What's data mining? We're sitting here. I'm losing my voice.
The practice of examining large database in order to generate new information.
Basically finding patterns. Right? That being able to find patterns. And companies are using those patterns basically to do what? Take my existing customers maybe and sell them more. Find what they need more, sell onto it. Have you ever seen, for instance, Amazon where they make recommendations? I bought these books and those people that bought these books, right? Or it's recommendation, these people like these trips, then you probably would like it. Getting basically, you want it in terms of basically recommendation, friend recommendations, people recommendations. So it's the same thing, and then they're going to be setting it to basically healthcare here. So it's really, the focus is on data to make better clinical decisions, and that's the key here. Not data for data's sake, but data to make better clinical decisions. And what's unique about the healthcare industry is what? The problem of inoperability. Meaning that it's difficult for various IT systems to talk to one another because it's difficult many times. Remember we talked about HL7? What was that?
It was a markup language? Wasn't it a markup
It
language?
was a markup language based on XML, extensible markup language, that basically tried to make my fields, And if I have a database, if I have a table of my patient data, for instance, my fields then, I need them to be named the same or mapped the same so I can then do analysis. Okay? And what we then have in the IT is I want to automate a lot of this and create then rules to my system. So it's rule based. What else? It's all about data analytics. Who was Danny, you're doing data analytics, right? Yes? No?
Yeah.
So what do you want to tell them? What data analytics? Danny's a data analytics major. It sounds good, right? And do you know what field you want to do data analytics in?
Not something in business, but.
Something in business. One of the things that really is a nice niche, there's so many, right? But a really nice niche is healthcare. Why? Loads of data.
You can help you.
You can help people. It really, it's worthwhile. And guess what? They're compared to other industries in terms of the administrative side, they're really behind. So they need it more than ever. Their systems don't talk to each other. Like if you think about banking, those have been established. When you go and somebody gives you a check, Danny, right? Or sends you money, you really don't, your bank does it, and let's say you deposit it, you have a checking account, you have a bank account. If you have a banking account, nobody's going to say, oh, I'm not going to take money. I'm not going to take it from another bank. Nobody's going to ever say that. Nobody's going to ever say, I can't talk to another bank. It may take a few days to do money transfer or something, but nobody's ever going to say it. Even if they're not part of the network, you still can go to an ATM. Right? You still can do online banking. But think about the healthcare environment. They don't even have in the United States, they don't even have all their act together, let alone the United States even doesn't, but let alone the United States want to talk to Canada. Even in that case, we'll have to switch from U.S. to Canadian dollar, right, to peso, even just in the America, right? And then let's talk about Latin America, right? We have a problem with exchange, but we could do it. We're going to have to pay transaction fees, but we should do. But think about healthcare. Think about Miami. You want to go to Doctors Hospital and you want to go to Jackson and you want to go to the University of Miami. All three of them have different systems, and do they share information? No. So it's difficult to do that. So think about their data analytics and what they want to do, and think about I'm really selling you on this, right? I sound like a healthcare recruiter. Somebody should pay me. Nobody does for that stuff. But it's look how, and I said to myself, what are you crazy? What are you getting so excited about? It's something silly. But I'm just telling you you can see that is a need. And then you think about the whole researchers, right? That they want to just get unidentified data, that they want to be able to help people to find best practices. It's just needing this so much in this area, and there's so many needs and they're raring to go. And this health information exchange, think about it, that they're even trying to think about it. What other industry doesn't have information exchange? You're on the internet. How easy is it to get data, right? How easy is the exchange? And here they're talking about enables providers to composite clinical patient. And can you get data easily from other institutions?
It depends, but most likely no.
It depends. Even that she says it depends. And how many years have you been working on this, right? It depends. Even from one section to another. Even getting from radiology, right, and from different divisions within the medical school was difficult.
I mean, now it's easier with Epic, but.
Right, but it's within one institution.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to go get data from Jackson,
We only get the billing data, not the clinical data.
listen to that. What other industry, you know what I mean? If you think about that, what other industry would you say that, you know, in the banks, like you can't get that, right? Or in retail, you know, sometimes you do it, and then they think about these that I just wanted to show you, and then all of a sudden they think about patient engagement tools. What's patient engagement tools? What do you think? What's a give me an example of a patient engagement tool. Yaman.
My chart, like a portal where they could log in.
Right. That was a big, can you imagine this, guys? That was a big, how long have we had that?
Whenever we got Epic, we got that.
Yeah, and that was a big deal, that we got a patient portal that you can check your charts and you can send email to somebody. Wow. I mean, we're talking about, you know, a disabled industry here. That now we're talking about ways to engage, right? The ways to figure out, to view the doctor's notes, to refill a prescription. Not only that, to integrate that, and now what they're thinking about is now in terms of mobile, right? Is to be able, what needs to be, remember what I was talking about, what did Amazon buy? That pill pack. Right? What's Amazon? Amazon's going into the health industry. Why do you think, Danny, Amazon's going into that pill pack and starting to look at looking with a number of, they started looking with a number of companies
Because it's behind, like, you have to still, like, make physical trips.
you know what I mean? It's like a no-brainer for Amazon. You think Amazon going to buy Whole Foods, right? A bricks and mortar, right? And why are they doing that? They basically want to merge those two together, that later on it'll be a completely different, probably in a few years it'll be a different environment when you go to a Whole Foods, right? And they'll be able, anybody ever use their Prime? You know, now you can use your Prime card, right? In Whole Foods. Now every time they're tracking me, not only are they tracking what I buy, right, in my Amazon, now they know exactly when I entered Whole Foods, right? They know exactly what I bought at Whole Foods, right? They can now track me even more and sell me more. They're even going further.
What's interesting about, like, Amazon buying Whole Foods is that, like, grocery shops, brick and mortars aren't like going anywhere anytime soon, because I work for them over the summer.
You work for whom?
I work for a company that, like, did analytics for grocery stores, like for specific brands.
Right.
And then, like, the research shows that they're not, like, people are still rather go to the store than do it online for groceries.
Right, for a while, right.
So Amazon, like, implementing their Prime stuff in the store is just, like, trying to attract more customers and, like, tracking, like you said.
Yeah, it's tracking, right? That if I do that, and I bet you that's gonna change over time too, of what, and then when you go out the door, they say, you know, we'll deliver 2 hour, right? It's slowly, and then I'm gonna get those products and getting those combinations of those, but you can see, but it's still that sense, everybody's trying to make almost that retail experience. What happens with all those malls, right? The people aren't going to the malls as much, and they're trying to make it interactive, that you can be at the store, and instead of, you know, be able to, even in the dressing room, to be able to order another dress, or to be able to see how you look and say, okay, now send it home to me, or send it to me. Basically that integration. So think about the hospital. When I come into the hospital, if you're a VIP, via facial recognition, I know that James, the famous videographer and basically entertainer and MD, comes in. Wow, he's so many things, right? We have to give him VIP service, right? We can recognize already when he's when he's coming in the door, and give him specialized service or whatever. We can, and healthcare, right? The idea that they weren't able, I have to sit in a waiting room for 3 hours. You know, I mean, whoever thought about that? Who would ever put up with that? You know, now insurance, the whole idea of insurance, really, there's no insurance agents. I basically do everything. Online banking, it's that blending. But sometimes I still need that physical interaction with people. It's not, you still have friends that you meet. Physically, there's still some kind of different, but it's kind of that blending. And you have to think about that healthcare being the blended. So these are areas in which, you know, that whole idea of social media, basically even getting people together that have the same disease, how many people have ever looked up any symptom they ever had, right? How many times do we do that, right? All the time, right? And the idea to get reliable information, right, in groups together that are coming together, people to be able to do any type of therapy. I mentioned before, the Men's Institute, that I'm working on, and basically dealing with social media. Males, for instance, of stratification don't like to go to doctors. Well, maybe they'll be able to text. Maybe we'll be able to do something else where we'll be able to catch those rather than down the line and wait too long. So these are areas in which you can think about it. That whole telemedicine. In the past, why has telemedicine not been even quicker? It's the idea of compensation, but that's going to change, right? So this is it. And that portal adoption, right, that's going to be changing. It's like a no-brainer of social media and risks and plans. So you can think about those challenges and that area of analytics and business intelligence. And then when you have then the data warehouse. So what, Danny, is a data warehouse? How can you describe it?
It's like a virtual place with all the data that can link together in one spot.
So what's that different than my transactional database?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, a data warehouse, you can put in your notes here, is different from just a regular database management system. So if I have for instance, when I think about an EHR, right, an example of an EHR, Yummy is Epic, right, but we can have many of those, is what do I have? I have my health information. In a system that I can retrieve with the doctor's notes and then I can have a portal. A data warehouse is an area in which I can do research upon. So an organization, an enterprise, doesn't want to take that EHR, their Epic system, which is live, where I'm getting my live data that's available, but what I want to do is maybe extract data from an Epic or an EHR and put it in what they call a data warehouse. A data warehouse holds, you can put in your notes there, historical data. And from there, what we can do is we can do different studies. We can do then basically data manipulation, data analytics, and then we can do forecasting upon that data, which is, you think about it as physically in a warehouse. What do you think about it as a big building? It doesn't necessarily have to be a big building, but what it is it's on basically, it can be on a different computer, but it's basically separated from the live data. And then I can do, basically in that, I can then try to do what we consider to be data mining and find patterns, best practices that I wasn't aware of. So, for instance, if I Google data warehouse, right? I see one of, and AD means what? When I Google, it means what?
Advertisements?
Advertising, meaning it's AdSense, meaning are these paid for, or are these links that ended up being the most, what are these? These companies paid for it, right? Who's number two?
Amazon.
Amazon, AWS of Amazon Web Services. You can see that, according to Monisys, you can see Oracle. Anybody ever hear of Oracle? Oracle's a big database company, right? So they say, hey, we're into data warehouse, right? And I can think about Teradata, top 5 Data House, Teradata, Oracle, Amazon Web Services, Cloudera, MarkLogic, top data warehouses on the market. What are they? Basically ways in which to manipulate data. And what they're using a lot of times with those data, so if I go to, and if they taught Amazon Web Services in your program, Danny, have you done any exercises with Amazon Web Services or no?
I haven't yet. I'm actually doing it this semester, but we haven't got there yet.
Okay, so one of the things, there's a number of what they call cloud providers. And that basically is, where does my data reside? So if I type in AWS, right, and I go to the second one, Amazon Web Services. Everybody's heard of Amazon, right? Yes? No? We've heard of Amazon. Amazon Web Services is the most profitable product Amazon has. And how do they start with it? Amazon started off as what? Selling books, right? And basically say, hey, we got to have it online. I have to have a database. And I have to do services for myself and invent those services. And basically what they said is, I've done it for myself. I know how to do it. Let me sell how I know how to do it to other companies. And they created what we talk about, Amazon Web Services. And I'll go over this, but this is interesting. They have other competitors, but they're probably the largest here. But if I look at solutions, notice here by industry, you see here, if I do by industry, it says automotive, it says digital marketing, it says education, enterprise, financial services, gaming, and guess what? Healthcare and life sciences. Solutions for increasing the pace of innovation, data lifecycle management, incorporating new technology into care delivery, and improving security and compliance. Because what happens with healthcare? What's the key here is they're governed by external bodies that say you must have security and compliance. You must have security and compliance based on which rules? Based on HIPAA. Yes, Dan?
Do you think that healthcare is behind because of the data being so sensitive and like regulations are probably like way more strict because it's like each person's data is that sensitive to that person, or is that just not an issue?
Well, they have to comply by that, but that's not why they're behind. Do you understand? Because banking, think about banking would be the opposite. You have money in the bank. Let's say you have $10,000 in the bank, right? Tomorrow you get hacked, right?
Yeah.
That money's there. Let's say they get your record, Danny. You still can go out and you still can enjoy yourself, right?
Yeah.
Right? You understand? But the bank is, think about that, so much more valuable.
Yeah.
Credit cards, right? They're going to be, but think about the bank, right? They're going to be so much more valuable. So it's not, now I'm going to sell the data, right? People are going to sell the data, or I can use it against somebody, right? If I got, a CEO find out that they were in the hospital, or they have some disease, or they have cancer, like Steve Jobs, he kept his illness secret for a while. People were questioning that because he was a publicly traded company, and maybe the investor should have known about it, but he kept that private. But somebody could have sold that information. Oh, I saw Steve Jobs, go into the hospital there for, his problems. And that's what happened, with, remember, anybody know there's that Versace house on Miami Beach? That's there, and that was Versace. They just got sold, I think, to Michael Kors, but that Versace, he was murdered, and it turned out Versace also had AIDS. And how do I know he had AIDS? It's not my business to know he has AIDS, but guess what? He was a patient at the university here, hospital. So how do I know that? Should I know that? I have no business knowing that. But how do I know that? It was written in the Inquirer. Anybody seen that great publication at the Newsline? When I'm in public, sometimes I look at the pictures, right? The Inquirer was written in the Inquirer. He had AIDS. So how did he know that? And it was true. Sometimes they read stuff in it. How did they know that? How did they figure that out? It was so somebody got paid. It turned out somebody at the university that had access to that databases, right, was paid to give that information. It was paid by the Inquirer, right? That person no longer works here, right? And basically you can have violations of it. So does that answer your question, David? So you think about it. So it's a combination. It's one because it started off. It's one that it was basically, I think if you look at other countries that have socialized medicine, they're even further along in technology because they have a group of people that are together that we can start creating easier for a digital park. But when each individual is privatized, right, it's harder to start sharing information. And even now, when digital is there, is still communities are reluctant to do it. Even think about the prices. What other industry that you don't even know if you go in for an operation? And if I ask Yami, what's going to be my price? She'll say, it depends. I don't know what the price is, right? They don't even know what their own costs are. What other industry don't they know exactly what costs it's been? So it's an industry that's waiting to be disrupted. And that's why Amazon and a number, and even all those tech companies are just eyeing it. Google's been trying to eye that, and you don't think Microsoft and all those other big companies, and then they can come in with these small companies. We're going to have the one I told you, Modernizing Medicine. She's a physician here as well 1 day a week, but 4 days a week she works there, and she's coming in to talk about it. And who was the owner of that Modernizing Medicine? A young kid from Blackboard, went to the dermatologist and saw the same thing. How are you working so inefficiently? It's like a no-brainer. It's a no-given. And thinking about the world, right? Even thinking about like the Gates Foundation. What are they trying to do? Is the Gates Foundation, Gates, right? He knows technology, and he said, why did he go to those areas? It's fertile to be disrupted. So if you look at healthcare here, the good question is, you can see here, cloud computing, add agility. Remember how we talked about agile by deploying, and then they're trying to see here web service clouds. Basically, the cloud means they are hosting it. That's what that means by cloud. We'll provide you the software, and look what they're doing. Genomics, biotech, providers and insurers, so the back end, life sciences compliance, healthcare compliance, life science resource, so they already know based on this, hey, we're going to get in the healthcare business. And once they start doing this, they start exploring healthcare to Amazon Web Services, right? Bring your tool sets to free data sets in AWS Cloud, accelerate time to results. Biotech, easy to deploy globally for any type of department, lab, health providers, accelerate your digital transformation and enable advanced healthcare analytics. Look at that. And then if you learn more, right, that they basically then learn how Cerner, who's Cerner? Anybody know what Cerner is? What is it, Yummy?
It's another EMR.
It's another EMR, right? Another electronic health service uses AWS to accelerate the entry of their population health management solutions to new geographic. So what they're saying is, we'll provide you the tools. You can do it in the cloud. We'll provide you the tools. We'll provide you machine learning. We'll provide you a lot of the algorithms. So before, you needed to be an expert statistician to use machine learning. What they're going to be doing now is they're providing you a lot of the modeling. And then you're going to be producing a lot of the models there. So it'll basically efficiently deliver improved security and compliance, broad-based. So these are the keys. They're basically trying to see where they limiting, and we're running 3x the number of servers than we were in traditional data center. So what's the cloud doing? What does this mean, traditional data center? And this has been reluctance too. Part of it, Danny, is because they're compliant, they say we're a little bit worried, but the other side of it is they haven't been high on tech. They've been in tech more in terms of maybe robotics in the medical field, but in their administration, they've been behind. So what does this mean? Put this in your notes here. Traditional data center versus we're running the number of servers in AWS, so basically cloud services. What's the difference and who cares? Everybody understand my?
Yeah. So a traditional data center is kind of like a data center that's stored on site, like a physical
So they
server.
call it on-premise.
Yeah, on premise. And it's on a local network page, so it's only accessible from
No, it has to be on a local network, but it's on-premise. So basically, let me just even give you, anybody ever use Microsoft Office? Right? Do you know that you get Microsoft Office for free here at the university? How can you get it? What versions can you get?
2016 Office.
And how do you get it? Is it downloaded on your machine or what? I'm hearing a lot of mumbles. Raise your hand to tell me. Cindy, what?
You go through your email account. When you log into Outlook, you
Yeah.
can click on the home page, and then right there it has pop up, and you can either click to download a specific program like Word, or they let you download the entire set of like 8 to 10 programs.
On your computer, and where else can you run it?
The digital version.
A digital version meaning what?
And you can use the version on the browser through Outlook as well.
Okay. So it basically, that would mean the traditional versus, it's one is that you can run it locally on your machine,
Offline.
right? You don't have to be connected to the internet. Or you can use what we call cloud services, and you can run Word and Excel in the cloud. And what does it mean in the cloud? That it means that Microsoft has servers all over the world, and basically you via a browser attached to it. Everybody knows that, right? Anytime you're using Facebook or you're using any of your other applications or Gmail or anything, you're using the services somewhere else via browser. Traditionally, Office and Outlook and Exchange were originally done here on campus in a room with servers, and they had some servers here on the Coral Gables campus and then on the medical campus and on Erasmus. And what they did is they hired people that were part of IT, and they basically took care and did the upgrades. So what has changed? If I go to the cloud, what does it mean? What does the university have to do? They don't have to hire those people to take care of those models. And what Amazon and these others say is we have more professionals here than you do at the Coral Gables campus. And you don't have to find people and then they're going to be replaced and train all these people. You can get rid of them. And this is the tradition, and this has been a lot of the things. What has been in healthcare is they said, and even in the banking, Danny, if they said, hey, we have to do compliance, just like the banks have to do compliance. They said, we're reluctant, in the beginning, we're reluctant to do the cloud. So what these cloud services are saying is, we'll be HIPAA compliant, right? So what we can do is we can be compliant, and you can have your auditors, and we know that we're going to keep your data secure, and you can rest assured and so forth. And we'll give you specialties. Any questions to what I'm saying? So you can see that among these, you can see that all their ways, what's for healthcare insurance, right? Customer videos, look how much money they're spending. Healthcare cases here, the core analytics, operations, compliance, and hardening. Build applications, improve their security and compliance posture, particularly via compliance as code services that automate security, like Amazon CloudWatch. You can also rely on an ecosystem of technology partners that improve monitoring and transportation. If you right now in Google say ransomware in hospitals, do ransomware in hospitals, ransomware in healthcare. What do you get?
Greenfield, Indiana, $55,000 payoff for ransomware attack.
Ransomware and healthcare. Right? Scholarly articles, how ransomware affects hospital security, right? Takes the brunt of, look at this. Healthcare industry takes the brunt of ransomware. The healthcare industry is taking the lion's share of ransomware attacks according to Threat Report, May 1st. Why?
Because they need the information regardless, and they don't mind paying the money just to get access already to treat their patients.
Okay, but why them versus banks seem to me easy, right? Easy for pickings. Right, like Danny was saying, are they doing what's compliant? Everybody understand my question? What's my question? Kelly?
Why ransomware attacks occur in the healthcare industry?
And if me and you, right, we're gonna say, hey, you know, we need to do something, let's do somebody kind of gave us this cockamamie idea, we'll do ransomware, right? I don't want to kidnap somebody on the street, right? Me and you, Kelly, we're not gonna go and we say, you know that this, you know how sometimes you hear those stories, some drug dealer's kid or something gets grabbed or something from Colombia or something, and then we're gonna take them, okay? So we're not gonna do that one, that crazy idea. So, and then what else are we gonna do? We're not gonna go to the University of Miami and wait outside and grab somebody and hope their parents will give us some ransom, right? Stand outside an elementary school, right? In some rich neighborhood and grab somebody. So I come up with this cockamamie idea, you know, let's do it over the internet. Nobody will see us, right? And let's move to Russia or wherever, Ukraine or someplace, right? Where we can move around, right? And I'm gonna be sitting there, right? And we come up and I get you to come up with my cockamamie idea and I say, what industry? And then we get Danny, because he graduated in data analytics, so he can help us. He knows a little bit about the internet, right? So we grab him, he was in our class, some cockamamie idea, right? Later on we'll be on and only Russianik will be there with the handcuffs, right? Doing the perp walk, you know, and you'll say, forget it, we ain't coming up with her idea. So what industry are we gonna do? So my idea, you know, Danny said we should do healthcare, and I said, why not do a bank? I'm gonna get the money right away, right? Banks have a lot of money, or go to somebody else. Why in healthcare? And what did you find out? How much money was it? 55,000. What else? Did anybody find any other amounts of money? Hospitals paying? Go research. What money? 55,000 doesn't sound a lot to me to do such a cockamamie idea. Little stuff they're paying. And what are they paying? Any idea? Bitcoin, right? They're paying in Bitcoin. Why in Bitcoin? Because I have a cockamamie idea. They won't be able to trace us, right? We're going to go to the Cayman Islands, or we'll go somewhere, Panama. Where we're going to go with where can we go for $55,000? Nowhere. How long will that take? You know, I have more expensive taste than that. You know, I'm going to sit 50. How long is that going to last us for three of us? So my question, back to my question and my cockamamie idea, is what? Why healthcare? And I'm only asking for a little bit. Right? I'm asking for all the healthcare, all the hospital. The hospital is down. Right? Think about it. Yeah, I mean, right? You come to work and say, hey, you know, can't do surgery today. But I don't know who I'm supposed to search. right? I don't know what I'm supposed to search. I don't know their background. I don't know nothing about them because somebody took over my computers, and we had ransomware on this campus, just so you know.
I think it's the most vulnerable industry.
It's the most vulnerable industry, weak on controls. Because I know my bank here is not going to be, I'm not going to invade Google, I'm not going to invade Amazon, right? It's weak on controls. Where am I going to, it's like the burglar, right? When I have all my dogs barking and so forth, am I going to go there? Or to somebody that has the open windows and easy target? It's like those same easy targets that I have here. Healthcare accounted for 45% of all ransomware attacks. Healthcare fell victim to more attacks than any other industry. Keeps on doing. Ransomware for 72% of the healthcare attacks of all of 2016. Potential effects in healthcare industry. Vulnerable. And what do I say to you? Great opportunity. I flip it and say, isn't it great that when you, where else are you coming out of school that you have so many opportunities? Somewhere else they'll start you off, small. You know what I mean? It's like it's already established. People have had so much information. These people that have been administrators, really their IT have been really foreshadowed here. So you can see here, epidemic, right? Recent incidents. What is this? At 2 urology clinics have left healthcare seeking a cure for a threat that has plagued the industry for years. I went to this dentist for a second opinion. Really, this nice guy, but it was really like this really run-down office and so forth. I would never go back again. But he was telling me he got a ransomware. Some little schmo in Coral Gables, dentist. One person, he must pay, the smallest amount in one of those little, the Coral Gables in downtown Coral Gables, it hadn't been renovated, And, I asked for, it took like 2 weeks to get my x-rays, and he was saying, well, we have to be careful because we got a ransomware attack. So even these schmoey little guys like this, so it's top for ransomware facilities. So you can see here, that's the key here for the cloud services. So if you look at chapter 9 for the security and compliance, that you can see that what I want you to be able to know, and you can read that as you go, you'll be able to look at that is what you'll be able to see here is, let me go to courses. Let me go to our 450, and we'll go to the web links. Just go down, it's about, what is it? Go to your web links in your regular section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 11th. You see here online data breaches? I'm going to open it up in a new window. Let's see what we get. What is this? Anybody know about this? Deb, you know about this?
The what? I'm sorry.
It says, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, we've all heard that, Office of Civil Rights, breach portal, notices the Secretary of HHS, branch of unsecured protected health. As required by section 13402 of the High-Tech Act, the secretary must post a list of breaches of unsecured protected health information affecting 500 or more individuals. The following breaches have been reported to the secretary. What is this? Any clues? Did you find it on your? So Liz, what do you think this is?
Like ransomware.
It's basically what?
A list of breaches that have occurred in the last couple of days, weeks even. No, actually, it goes back.
It's basically based on the High-Tech Act. What is it? We have to be compliant. Is healthcare doing a good job? What's the answer? No. So basically, what the government came up with an idea. I'm going to do a wall of shame. I'm going to do a wall of shame. And if you look at it, I don't know how shameful anybody feels anymore. And you know, shame has gone out the window. Don't you feel like it? I mean, if you look at the world, shame it's not one of the ideas. But this was called the wall of shame. And look at this.
Gee, shame to Blue Cross for having over 16,000 affected people.
Right.
That was a week ago.
Right. So you can see that. So you can even do by state. Look by state here. You can find, let's do Florida. We know that that's always a state that never has any fraud or any security problems, don't you think?
Florida and
All right, and I'm going to apply the filters. Let's see what we get here. We're generating the reason for your report, right? And you can see type of breach: hacking, IT incident, theft, improper disposal, unauthorized access, loss, or unknown. Location of breach: desktop, laptop, paper, EMR, network server, other, email. Right? Here's Florida. Right? So I can even see, I can say what type I have. Right? I can do the descriptions right here. You can see here, Florida, Wells, Orlando, Physicians, Guardian Pharmacy of Jacksonville, right? Florida Blue, Nova. Anybody hear of Nova? What, yeah,
the
right?
university? Yeah.
Right. Nova University, right? The theft, right? Healthcare consultants, right? And I can make it even in this case, right? That you can go to the next and you can see a number of different ones that choose the covered identity type, right? Health plan, healthcare provider, right? That you can do, right? Apply the features we're generating so you can see everything here. This Hall of Fame, I don't think really worked so well. You know what I mean? I don't even, number one, how many people knew about this? Nobody, right? And we're supposedly doing, so how shameful could that be? And we're the sophisticated ones, right? So we don't know about it, right? So these are the ways in which we can do it. Questions? So you can see here, read through those securities that we'll talk about it next time in terms of security, but basically what we need to know about security is this. Anytime you talk about security, I don't care in healthcare or whatever, guys, if you want to talk, write some text to each other or something. Okay, so I don't have to hear it. Okay, so I have here in terms of, because I have a hard time anyway with my thought. Okay, so we have something called CIA. CIA, it's not,
Investigation.
right, Central Investigation Agency, it's not the CIA that I know, but it's basic confidentiality, integrity, and availability or access. So this is confidentiality. This is availability. This is access. And this is integrity. I don't care when you talk about this in data. Have you ever heard about this, Danny? Yes, no? So basically, if I think about data, I need to basically make sure that it's confidential. I need to have confidentiality of it, and in healthcare, I have to follow certain rules, right? That I can't have that Versace, I can't have people on the database basically selling to the Inquirer and other places, hey, let's see who is now registered, and what do they have, maybe we can sell that data. Let alone that this data we can sell. And integrity, meaning that I can rely on that data to be correct, and it's timely. That data, it doesn't say, you know, I have some disease, but I'm cured from it, but basically that I can rely on it. And what's the problem with all this security and what people hate about it, and I myself, it's so secure that I can't get access to it when I need access. You know, I have to remember all those passwords, right? And I forget my passwords, and they make it so hard. Now I need to get my phone, and where's my phone? And I have to do all these stuff, and all they want to do is, who cares if they get in and see my PowerPoints on this computer here? And then we have to measure what am I securing? You can have all my PowerPoints, right? That's all I store here, right? You can have all my PowerPoints. Now, if there's other information that you can take, it's another idea. But if I have to do it. So here, what the key here is to get access and availability of what we call the need to know. Don't you hate it? Need to know. The basis of need to know. So all insecurity has to be around not only my CIA, but also my need to know. I don't want your other grades. I don't need to know your other grades. I don't need to know your financial situation, and I don't need to know if you're on scholarship or not scholarship. But I need to know if you're on work study because I want to hire you. And if you're on work study, I have a budget for work study that will allow me to pay you more than if you weren't. So I have the need to know that. You got it? Just like I made an audit section for you, that you have an audit section of that, and then the quizzes that I give you, I have control of. But if you tell me that and give me feedback, right, we can work together. So it's the same kind of thing that you need to know that. So that has to be available to you. And along with that, because there's always risk in data, everybody understand it? There's always risk in data. So can I be 100% secure in my data? No. Life is not 100%, right? We can walk out of here and who knows what's going to happen to us, right? But what I can do is I can take precautions, I can take controls that if I'm at 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe I want to call up for an escort, right? Maybe I want to lock my doors, right? Maybe I want to put on the alarm. But if I have a $100,000 condo, I'm not going to put $1 million of what? Security equipment on it. So I need to know that standoff there for it, but I need to make sure that I have the proper controls. So the whole area is controls, and there's physical controls. And what's a physical control? Is basically I gotta lock the doors. And there's administrative controls that basically I need to be able to make sure that certain people that say who they are, I have to authenticate them, and they have either read privileges or read-write privileges, and they have all those. Those are basic kind of things. Security is basic in any type of industry. But what it turns out to be is why are they more vulnerable? Is one, that data traditionally has been, they've probably been the last industry to go from paper to digital. Think about it. Has anybody ever been to a doctor where they had paper? You ever have a form in a doctor's office that you're filling something out in paper? Who's ever had that? Right. Where do you ever see that? But think about it. They give you a piece of paper with a pen and a little clipboard filling out information. Is that efficient? Is that crazy? You know what I mean? Is there a way in which this should be, right? You have printers?
Yeah.
They keep on printing, right? You thought that went away. You don't see printers in other areas. Maybe you see it when you're in Publix or something and you get your receipt. Most of the times people say, even, you know, a lot of times they say, do you want me to email you your receipt? Right? Apple a long time ago, right? When you buy stuff at Apple, right? What are they doing? They're not asking you to fill out a form on paper. Here, fill this out. Tell me what you want. Check off. We'll have somebody else go ahead and write it. What other industry does that? But again, how can I be happy, right? It's an opportunity that this needs to be changed. And that you're going to make a service and you're going to be more efficient. And finally, we can make better healthcare decisions. But rather, and then you have a lot of people selling stuff in this industry because they think that they're so vulnerable, you know, that can be here. So this is the key. So, maybe I got a little too excited over this, but it's okay. All right, so at least I entertain myself, if not you. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to go back to, so you can see here that once you go back to these PowerPoint, you know, the PowerPoints, I'll enable it here, that you can see here. I'll just give you an overview, and then we'll talk about this more next time from this, is you can see what they're going to be talking about. Confidentiality, right? The HIPAA, all of a sudden I need privacy, security, breach notifications, identify the threats. So where are the threats coming from? In any organization, it could be human. And I told you, right, Versace is a human one, right? Most of this, I can tell you stories about our institution, which are incredible. And the reason I can tell you this was in the paper, right? I'm not vouching anything. You remember the one with the pharmacy? Remember that one? This is a great story. You'll love it. You won't love it. You'll really cry about it. There was a guy worked in the pharmacy for a number of years. And what did they want to do in the pharmacy? What's important in the pharmacy to control? Meds, right? And what do they want to control, Gabby? If you work in the pharmacy, right? Right? Or you had somebody in the pharmacy, what do you want to control?
The distribution of the medication?
Yeah, the distribution, right, of the medication. So what do I have always? Threats. I want to see what is most vulnerable. And what do I want to control? Or what do I want to minimize the risk of those areas in which would be most costly for me? Either cost in what? Money, cost in resources, cost in reputation, cost in damage. This is the key for anything. But in healthcare, God, there's a lot of those. There's threats. You know, safety is the number one. You want to be a surgeon, Gabby, right? You don't want to be cutting off the wrong leg, right? How many times have they done that? You think, oh, and that's simple, right? Coming into surgery, who could think, right? I know what leg needs to be cut off, and have you heard those stories, right? I come out, and I got the wrong leg. Now you have no legs. You know what I mean? Who needed the other leg anyways, right? So it's the idea of those threats, but those controls that I have to set up. So this was the pharmacy. Let me tell you the story. It's a great one. So what happened is, I'm always thinking about control. So they had a camera. So what do I want to do? So Gabby, me and you were gonna go together. Kelly, I had a cockamamie story with her. I got my idea. So with you, Gabby, I'm gonna go straight, right? I'm gonna do my duty. And I said, you know what? We're gonna start up a consulting company. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Danny's idea of this area that needs controls. Pharmacy's the first one we're gonna do. We're gonna do security audits of an institution and say, this pharmacy area, we're going to do control. So my idea, you see what we have up there in the ceiling? Cameras, right? What kind of camera is that? Anybody know?
Security camera?
It's a security camera, and how's it controlled? It's an IP network camera. What does that mean? What does IP mean? Internet protocol. So what it stands IP, you can put that in your notes there. It also intellectual property means, but in this case it means internet protocol. What does that mean? It means that I can get access to it via what? a web browser, right? So this camera, anybody know this? This camera, I can get access. If I know the username and password, I can get access anywhere in the world to see what's here. So what I have here is, so we're gonna put in a camera. Give them the idea. So what did this person do? Worked there for years. And all of a sudden, you think of all these controls, he got caught. This person working there. And how did he get caught? You think all these controls, and how do they usually get caught? Well, it's always greed, right? But how did he get caught? And you wouldn't believe it. This guy was stealing and doing stuff. It was horrible. He was stealing cancer drugs and watering them down. So if I had one vial, he would basically water them down and like get 10 vials out of it and then sell them. And he was so stupid, he stored it in his mother's, I don't know, his bedroom in his mother's house or something, in this little refrigerator or something. He went on for years on that. And how did he get somebody finally that worked in the pharmacy told on him? And they found out that camera they had in the ceiling, one is nobody looked, right? There's here, but does anybody look? Does this even work? We have no idea. Do you see it moving? It should be, right? There should be what? It should be what? Some kind of motion detection that it should be moving. Is it moving with me?
I think it probably has to be with the light.
I
I think it's a
don't know.
fisheye camera, but.
But anyways, but it should be, and so you can zoom in. I know I have controls from here that what I used to do instead of using these cameras, I used to use those cameras. What I did is I repurposed them because nobody was using them to broadcast I wanted to use these to broadcast my classes to. Give people the username and IDs because nobody else uses. Nobody knew. They spent thousands of dollars in these rooms to focus. They asked me what cameras to use, so I said, why don't we use IP? But nobody bothered to see. We don't know if it works. We don't know if they check anything. I'll tell you another story. I know that sometimes they don't. But anyway, in these they didn't even know. Gabby, we installed them. We made great recommendations, but number one, the cameras didn't always work, and nobody checked them. So as he's taking, he doesn't even try it. As he's taking it from the drawers, right? Nobody realizes he's putting it in his bag and taking it home with him. I mean, we're not talking about sophisticated, algorithmic cracking the codes of algorithmic programs. So these are the things, understanding the purpose and key components of security and identifying resources. So we'll go more over this next time, okay? But I just wanted to give you an overview of why I want to include this. When you were asking me, Monica, why I want to include this in the exam, was it's the key to essence of data is securing it. And especially, we needed, if you can figure out ways to prevent something like ransomware, Danny, that would be just tremendous because you see that's that industry. And why are they choosing it? They're choosing it is they're the least secure. They're doing simple things that they get in, phishing exercises, do a little email, somebody clicks on a link, and we get into the server and the network, and basically they lock it. You want it? And they're probably guys from, Eastern Europe, or Ukraine, who knows where they're from, right? And they say Bitcoin, $50,000, one paid $17,000, $35,000. What is that for an institution, right? To get anybody there, I'm not even going to call the FBI. What are they going to do for me? And how much is it in calling some company? So they say small amount of money, do it for, try it out on 1,000, 10,000 institutions, right, that they're doing because they haven't been secure. Okay, we'll have the chief security officer come, and you can ask her all those questions, right? The past security officer is no longer with our institution, and what can I say? there were some breaches that, were here that somehow, I don't know if he was responsible, but that was a good person to fire. Okay, so the other thing, let's do this, is Blackboard. And let's go to audit. And let's go to course documents. So, is Lauren or Daniel here?
Yeah.
Okay, so Daniel, Fiona contacted me, so you can give her that link of Steam It at the Psycho and tell her she can review the lecture. So did you guys do the homework?
Yeah.
So let me just go to you, because I was looking, I didn't know what group she was in, and you did the Excel forecasting. And can I bring yours down?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm gonna do open, and what did we get? So what do we got here?
I put all three of the stocks I worked on in the same thing.
Okay, and what did you find?
What, the graph? Or
Yeah, first of all, the graph. So you have here, so one graph is telling me what? It's going up, and the other one is telling me it's going down, right? And then what else did you do?
I did the linear and polynomial, and then if you scroll over to the right, I just did the gain top left, top right, yeah.
Okay, and then you did the gain between the,
The R's.
okay, in the gain there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and the gain was, okay. So what's missing here? What we need to do, and what algorithmic trading is setting rules to the computer. Remember, we looked at it a while back. And basically, what's happening here is what? The linear is telling me what? What direction is the linear telling me? Kelly, what is it telling me, the linear?
That's gonna increase.
It looks like interest, and the polynomial tells me what?
It's planning
Going
on
down.
dropping.
So maybe a rule could be if both, listen to this rule, if both the linear and the poly go the same direction, then trade. If they both go down, then short. If they both go up, trade. It could be a possibility. The other one could be that I can do, but what is missing here is he's telling me the gains, but what I need to know is what's going to be the next day. I know I want to be able to see how accurate my model was. And that's what, Gabby, I need to add to it. You did such a great job last week. You remember when we were together on last Monday, is what we need to do is add to it what's going to happen next. So what I want to do is, that's nice. I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save your work. So what I want to do is, let me go back to Blackboard and see if I have it here. And if not, I'll open it. Let me go to Blackboard, KY. Let me go to course documents. You see here, let me see if I have it here, Excel forecast. Okay. So I have it, you can try it out. I have it, if you go to the regular course, go to course documents and look under my Excel forecast, you can open it up. And what I did was what I wanted you to do for next time is, now what do we need to do? I need a forecast, what's the next day gonna be? and then I want to compare what I got the actual from what the forecast says. Will it be 100% correct?
No.
What do you think, Abby? Well, of course it won't, but what it's going to be over time, I hope that the errors will shrink. And if not, I may go ahead and try to do another type of analysis, and maybe my forecast, or it may work better with other stocks. So what I did, and what I'd like you to do, is I forecasted their built-in formulas in Excel. You see here where it says functions? Let me just even go to another cell. You see here where it says functions? And if I go to, not most recently used, but if I go to, let's say I go to all, and I type, and I look for forecast,
Passed it.
yeah, see, if I go to forecast, I can go to a number of different types of forecasts where I can do it. Also, if I just go here and I say equal, did I do equal? I did minus. If I say equal, I did it twice, huh? Forecast, you see here, and do forecast, I can do different types of equaling on forecast to forecast. And in this case, let me just remove this. In this case, what I did was I used a forecast linear. So I used a forecast linear where I then forecast, what I want to forecast is, let's say Monday, September 17th, from B3 through B24, comma, through A3 through A24, and I got 229.24 for my forecast. But what I want you to see is you can figure out what the actual is by basically what we're talking about, almost forward testing here, is you can figure out what the actual is and find out what the error is. So what I'd like you to do is go back and do your forecast on, let's say, 30 days, and then leave out a number of days that are outside the range, and then be able to see if it could forecast accurately for you. Do you understand that, Danny?